Hey everyone! Welcome back to my channel. My name's Teresa. I do videos on whatever I want because I don't like putting myself in a box. And yeah, I'm in a robe now. You guys, it's getting cooler here. You guys are gonna see me in probably like pajamas now for a while. So yeah, I was gone last week because I had my friend's kids for literally 4-ish days. I'm gonna redo my intro because my video started over again. So, hey everyone, my name's Teresa. I do videos on whatever I want because I don't like putting myself in a box. And I was gone last week, so I'm just gonna do a little catch-up Q&A. I really hate saying that, catch up Q&A, but you guys get what I'm saying. Q&A from the last week. This strand of hair is really bothering me. I am so sorry. And so I was gone last week. I had my friend's kids for the whole weekend, basically like 4-ish days. And so I'm just going to answer a few questions here. There's not a lot. So let's just jump right into it. Like I said, it is really starting to get cold here, which is great because it was so hot literally last week. And yeah, it's a bit colder now, so you guys will probably see me in, like, pajamas starting now, so you're welcome. Anywho, let's get into these questions. So the first one is kind of the obvious one. How did it go with your friend's kids last weekend? Did it change your mind on having kids? So, I had my friend's kids last weekend, as I've said a million times already, and it was okay. I definitely am not used to having kids around me 24/7. Um, and honestly, as far as the baby goes, we'll start with the baby who just turned 11 months yesterday. And that went better than expected. As I shared with you guys, I was really nervous about getting up in the middle of the night and hearing him cry. I need to close my email because otherwise we're going to be hearing that throughout the video. Because I'm a very, very heavy sleeper and I don't like it's really hard for things to wake me up. And so, yeah, I was really surprised the first night I had somebody else with me that first night. I went upstairs about 10 o'clock at night and she went up, literally gave him his pacifier. He knocked out again and then didn't wake up until I think like 1:40ish was the first time. And I heard him then and I went in and gave him a bottle and he was completely fine until literally the next morning until like 8 a.m. So, and after that, he only woke up like once in the middle of the night. Yeah, I didn't always go in at 10 at night to check on him. I kind of left it up to him. He got a little whiny, and I was like, okay, if he's not like screaming his head off, I'm gonna just let him try and find his pacifier, put himself down. And so, yeah. Um, so he went actually better than expected. So this is bothering the crap out of me. Okay, sorry you guys. I cannot stand when my hair is not cooperating whatsoever. Um, so overall, he went really, really good. And yeah, having the helper there for literally a day was great. She ended up not staying the entire time, um, which is okay, but it helped so much even just that one day. I didn't have to put him in the car for drop off for school or for pickups, which was really nice because um, for school drop off, the one kid, the oldest, goes at 8, which he was still sleeping at that time. Um, but he woke up literally as soon as we walked in the door, as soon as I walked in the door at like 8 or whatever. And then for pickup, the one child, the middle child, gets done at 2 o'clock. And so he potentially would still sleep um, at 2 o'clock because he went down for a nap. He goes down at nap for, at, like, 11:15, 11:30, kinda just depending. So, yeah. So if I didn't have to, like, drag him, it was great. Luckily, I didn't have to wake him up and drag him out. I think I only had to do that literally Friday, and that was it, and that was fine. He still got a 2-hour nap in the afternoon, so that was great. The other 2, however, was something I wasn't prepared for. I was not prepared for all the fighting. Um, I also do not have the patience that I used to have back in the day. Um, I lost my stuff more times than I can count with the kids and their fighting. I've dealt with siblings before, but I've never dealt with siblings that just fight the way that these 2 fight, because it's constant, it was nonstop. I'm not gonna get too into detail with it, um, but, their parents have the same issue, so it's not like it's been a new thing that just arose because I was the one in charge of them. So, yeah, that was a lot, and I'm not gonna lie, like, I was on the verge of crying at least 3 times. Friday was the worst day. Um, Thursday, the 5-year-old, it was her birthday, and she actually ended up being very emotional. Um, and I think part of that was due to the fact that her parents had left on her birthday. She did end up getting, like, a special breakfast with her parents, but I laid her down one night and she looked at me and asked, "Are my mom and dad going to leave again on my birthday next year?" And I said, "No, honey, it's just this one time." So I was not really prepared to deal with the older kids. The nice thing about having the other person with me was that she was able to take care of the baby because she wasn't really comfortable dealing with the older kids, and that's completely fine. Um, and I was able to deal with the older kids because my problem that I have with the older kids, and I've talked openly with this with the mom, so I can share this part, is the older kids constantly want my attention. When you start off as their nanny slash babysitter, um, the thing is you become the entertainer. And so they expect you to entertain them constantly. And so there is no time just to chill and hang out. Like it's really hard to do. And especially when you have them for that long of time, I'm a huge fan of planning and structure and like a schedule. And so, yeah, I know their mom was like, yeah, I don't know why Tess, she calls me by my nickname, that's how the kids know me too, wants to do like fun things with you guys, but you guys have to like behave, whatever. And it's like, well, I kind of have to because they can't just exist around me, with parents, kids learn to just like exist around a parent because they are used to their parents having to do other things around them. And it was super difficult because I couldn't then pay attention to the baby, um, and I felt like I was abandoning him a little bit, and I've talked to the kids about how there's one of me and there's 3 of you, and, the baby needs attention too. I can't just let him run around even though, like, the house is baby proof, and I can't just leave him in the huge pack and play and just let him be, you know? He needs attention too. So that was really the hard thing too. There was definitely some hard conversations, to help with the fighting. I did force them to play headbands to try and teach how to communicate with each other. All I will say about that situation is 5-year-old was very receptive to it. The 8-year-old was not. And the 8-year-old was on the verge of crying at one point, but refused to do the options that he had for when he felt overwhelmed. I was on the verge of crying as well, and I had to tell him it's hard for me to hear what's going on because obviously when they're arguing, I can't hear, what he's saying because unfortunately she's louder than he is. So it was a whole thing. So, next question, I ended up surviving, but it took a lot to recover after that, which sucked because I like had to immediately go back to adult life. Next question. Doctor update. So I was supposed to go and see my doctor on Thursday. She ended up being sick. So I got rescheduled for October 1st. It ended up actually working out for the better. I did weigh myself Monday. I ended up losing a pound. But I ended up gaining that pound back, and there's a couple like reasons for that. One being I have been kind of going sodium heavy um towards the end of the week here, and that's one reason. The other reason is I just got off of my period. I'm not taking my birth control anymore because I'm going to get hormone tested at the end of October. And so, just hormones being rebuilt, whatever. So that could be something. The other thing again is stress. I ended up having to do a job interview this week. I was really focused on everything I needed to bring up to my doctor, and then having to like reschedule it, which wasn't a huge deal. I mean, at the time, I was kind of like, eh. But just trying to get like the medication filled, anyways. Um, Was a lot, I guess, just because it's a lot of back and forth, um, between nurses, calling, which is fine, but, um, yeah. And then having to kinda deal with some stuff with my mom's health, getting something situated. So, yeah. Uh So, ended up not seeing her, but I have 2 weeks. I have this week, next week. The good thing is, like I said, I ended up gaining that pound back. I don't know how, like, really if I even maintained the pound that I lost the week prior. Um, So, I might have just lose lost that pound too quickly. My body's like, "Hey, like, that was too fast." And in my body's defense, this would have been the week of my period if I was still taking my birth control, and therefore, I would have just maintained anyways. So, yeah. But everything's good now. I ended up not getting the job, which I'm secretly really happy about because I just didn't feel like it was a good fit for me. Um and they would've wanted me to start October 1st, which is when I see my doctor, and so I'm like, "Yeah, no." Also, it just didn't seem like a good fit because of my accommodations with my allergy shots, and yeah, I don't know how much longer I'm gonna be doing, the weight loss medication. I still have to see my doctor every 3 months, so yeah. And it worked out for the better too because my other 2 medications for my excess hair and the Tobermate actually will need to be renewed in October. So my original plan was try and hold off until October anyways. And so yeah, I could wait until literally like the week of my birthday, October 7th, to see her because she did renew it, like refill it for a whole month, which would be October 12th, but October 12th is a Saturday, so I could see her at the end of, like, the week of my birthday, so, like, the 11th, the 10th, and the 10th is when I will run out of the other 2 medications, so I could wait that long, but I don't want to because, of course, the receptionist called me first to reschedule the appointment, and then I talked to the nurses about the meds and whatever, so I'm just leaving it as is. So, um, which is great because, like I said, more time to lose weight. If I lose at least 1 pound before seeing her, fantastic. If, ideally 2 pounds would be what's best, then awesome. it is what it is. Next question, side effects with Topramate. So the only thing I knew that I've noticed is I have a twitch in my like right eye. You really cannot tell. Um, I've been kind of looking this up and I did see on a forum that somebody was saying once they were bumped up to the 50 mgs that they started getting a twitch in their eye. And somebody wrote, up the water intake, which I will admit I have sucked at the water intake, especially now just post like taking care of the kids and everything like that. It's taken me a while to like get back into the routine of things. And so I did that yesterday. And honestly, I checked my eye last night before going to bed, and it really did subside quite a bit. So that's good. I'm going to keep it up. I'm going to obviously like watch it for the next 2 weeks and see if it continues because it is definitely something I'm going to be bringing up to my doctor. Even if it's continuing a little bit, it is something I'm going to have to bring up to her. Speaking of water, so that's just one of the things I've noticed. I have noticed, I don't know if this has anything to do with my medication, but like an unusual, very, very small bruise on my shin, kind of like a rebruising situation. Because I did get bruised there like years ago when I was back in high school. The only thing that I can think of that would have possibly caused it would be like my ankle weights that I barely use now, because it's just like all bone down there. So that's something I've noticed. I don't know if the medication caused that or not. And it's the only bruise that I've noticed on my body, really. And I've just noticed it too. Like the eye twitching too, like I just noticed since now after watching the kids. And so, yeah. Um, and then besides the normal like constipation type of thing, but for me, like that's normal post period, and I really haven't been keeping up with like my fiber. Usually I take, I do fiber like 3 days after my period or whatever, 3 days close to the end of my period, and I tend to be fine. But yeah, so that's it with that. The last question is thoughts on the new Wicked trailer. So we got the Wicked trailer, the second one, and I thought it was really good. I'm just so excited for this one. The only thing that I will say that I'm nervous about is I'm hoping that they didn't not overdo, but I'm hoping they did not add Ariana slash Glinda's voice to Defying Gravity. So if you watch that trailer, the second trailer that was released now a week ago, you can obviously hear Ariana singing in Defying Gravity, and not the part that they're supposed to be singing together in, um, or at, but she's just vocalizing towards the end of it. And I think it's beautiful, do not get me wrong, but we all know that Ariana can sing. I don't want them to overuse Ariana's voice, because Defying Gravity is very much Alphaba's song, and Cynthia has every right to just sing that song. And we know, obviously, there's a version out there where it's just Cynthia singing the song because it's in the first trailer. And so I'm hoping they just stick to just Cynthia singing the song and they don't add um Ari's vocals to Defying Gravity because it just doesn't make sense to do that. Don't make it pop just for the sake of attracting like a younger audience or whatever, because vice versa, it wouldn't make sense to be adding Elphaba's vocals to Popular, which is Glinda's song. And that's totally the chance for Ariana to show off her vocals in this role. And so that's my only critique with that, but I think the set is going to be phenomenal. I think they're really sticking to the book and remembering that it's a book first. I'm really excited because I did order the book for my birthday. So I have it. I haven't read it yet. I'm waiting till like literally my actual birthday um before reading it. And so yeah, I'm so excited. There's just something so special about it. I think they're both understanding like the root message of Wicked. It's about friends and, your life being changed for the better, you know, with somebody that you didn't think you'd ever end up being friends with and doing what's right and whatever. And there's just something so special about these two that's being translated in these trailers that I feel like we honestly are not always getting with the musical in a way. So, yeah, there's going to be a tissue shortage, and I can guarantee you that. So, when there is a tissue shortage, I called it, you guys. So, and I don't have a problem with it being in two parts. I know we got a date for the second part in 2025. So I'm super excited about that, as well. So just really excited. I cannot wait. Um, I do have somebody that I'm seeing it with. I hope she is still on board because there's nobody else that I would want to experience Wicked with other than her. So yeah, just so excited. And I think they picked the perfect women to play Elphaba and Glinda. Also, I really want them to do something with Cynthia and Idina and Kristen and Ariana singing For Good, and kind of like they did for, I think it was the 20th reunion of like all four Glindas and all four Elphabas singing their songs together. I want something like that with these women. So we I don't know how to make that happen, but the theater community needs to figure out how to make it happen. So that is it, you guys. I hope you guys enjoy this video. Thumbs up if you like it. Hit subscribe down below. Hit the bell for notifications. I post every weekend. I'll see you all next weekend. Bye. I feel like that was a way shorter outro.